All right, thank you, Linda, and thanks for providing me the opportunity to share my perspectives and observations at the end of this session. I would like to offer insights into several areas. First, education, collaboration, and safety culture, and second, respirator fit, and third, conformity assessment. And the first area that struck me includes a movement toward every worker and citizen having a safe and healthy environment through education, collaboration, and emphasizing a safety culture across the nation and the globe. Let's start with the workers we are addressing with PPE standards. So when people go to work, they expect to do their job and return home safely. Yet we all know that over 5,000 workers die on the job every year in American workplaces, and tens of thousands of workers develop occupational illnesses every year. Protecting the public, as we heard over the past few days, is even more complex. Several years ago, when two teenage workers went into a grain bin to facilitate the grain moving through the silo, as it was being emptied, the grain loosened and created an avalanche effect and suffocated the 14-year-old worker and the 19-year-old who tried to rescue him. We have regulations that prohibit the 14-year-old from working in the first place, prohibit the practice of workers going inside a bin when it's being emptied, and mandate that workers inside the bin should be wearing a safety harness as PPE. And yet this tragedy struck. What happened was a failure of education, collaboration, and safety culture. And these are the things that we've heard about over the past several days, where we need additional emphasis. We had much of these same issues during the pandemic. We had reusable respirators available and had been working on their use in healthcare for over a decade, yet still the surgical N95 is what everyone thought was needed. And there was a lot of chaos. So educating humanity as early as possible about the value of living a safety culture at work and at home is critical. Also, collaboration with industry, labor, and other governmental and non-governmental organizations is a second area of emphasis. And a third area of emphasis involves fostering a positive safety culture in every industry sector and across community settings, across every company, large and small. So education, collaboration, and safety culture also contribute to improved equity, and we've heard a lot about that over the past 2 days as well. Some of the panelists' remarks today reminded me that we really are unique professionally and are trying to make sense of our lane and understand others. And the need for improved education and communication includes even some of us, because some of the statements made did not reflect current guidance or policy. So even among those deeply involved in the field, there is still confusion and misunderstanding. Again, education, collaboration, and safety culture. Education, collaboration, and safety culture in each workplace and for the public must be addressed. And one of my key takeaways is that this is one of the biggest gaps. These points tie into wisdom from Alcoa Corporation's safety leader, Paul O'Neill, who said safety is not a priority, it's a precondition for organizational behavior. And behavior is what Linda emphasized. Individuals should not have to think about safety and health. These topics should be second nature. Through our task force and as a matter of practice, we partner with industry, labor, and professional societies to document best practices in safety culture and to improve health and safety standards. Both guidelines and standards will have to continue to evolve as the nature of work continues to transform with each technological innovation and with the need for protection in community use settings as well. I heard today that we cannot just look at PPE standards independently. We must look at these issues holistically. And I wholeheartedly agree that we cannot look at the standards and supply chain independently. But what this group can do is identify the most salient gaps that must be addressed as we go forward to take action to address those gaps. With that being said, another one of my biggest takeaways from today's session includes issues associated with how standards, guidance, and innovation associated with respirator fit can positively impact the supply chain issues experienced during the pandemic. And the third takeaway relates to conformity assessment and the need for a national strategy to address PPE conformity assessment in times of emergency. This crosses standards and a resilient public health supply chain. And each of us is here today to identify actions we can take together to be best prepared with a resilient public health supply chain. And while PPE and PPT standards and standardization are not a holistic solution, they are part of this solution. So I do look forward to the publication of the proceedings to assist our task force in moving forward. And I thank you at the National Academies, the committee members, the panelists, and participants for your passion and insights over the past few days. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marianne. Do you have an idea? I know you do, but could you let us know the idea of how you will share the report that comes out, so that I think that we all sense this energy and urgency and capability, and at the same time a certain puzzlement about how to go forward. So do you have any hunches about what this effort, how it will make a difference?
Yes, so these workshop proceedings are the next step in our plan of action and milestones work group. And what we will have is the consolidation, we hope, of the gaps in standards, and then potential priorities as well. So then our group will work with a CPAC group, which is the Joint Supply Chain Resiliency Working Group, in identifying what the consensus recommendations should be based on what comes out of this report. And that will go forward to CPAC, and that all of this links to the overall national strategy. Again, this plan of action and milestone 23 on product standardization is one part of this larger puzzle of supply chain resiliency activities underway.
Got it. Okay. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments before we all go off into our lives and a good weekend in a little while? We're so grateful to everyone who's here and has done this work. Appreciate the effort and the outcome. Well, with that, I think we'll say farewell. Thank you.